So recently I've heard a lot of discussion about a certain anime that has just recently begun airing, Goblin Slayer. Now, I have a few of the homies who watched this had some mixed thoughts on it. I saw the opinions of the timeline, which were very strong against Goblin Slayer. So I checked it out for myself. A lot of the criticisms that I've heard of Goblin Slayer really center around one scene that happens about halfway through the first episode. As of the time I'm recording this, there are now 2 episodes. I wanted to record this video last weekend, but I wanted to see a second episode first to kind of really see where the show was going, and for me to then give my kind of proper thoughts here. But there is a rape scene about halfway through the first episode. And I have to add, it is very, very light. I actually think it's done very well to sort of just show like things that are happening sort of around it without showing too much. So you do get the proper feel of what happens. Again, like my homie Afro said, I saw the arch of her back and I was done. Like he said that was it. I didn't need to see any more. So a lot of people have been sort of upset about that scene in the show, right? Now, I don't really think it's that big of a deal just from seeing what I saw in the first episode. Here's why. We're establishing a series where the main character's name is literally Goblin Slayer. All he does is kill goblins. And not just kill goblins, but massacre them. All of them. Every goblin. Even goblin children. So, in order to properly root for this hero and to be on his side as he's brutally destroying every goblin in his path, we have to see them do terrible things. We have to see them do horrible things so we understand, we get it in our heads, oh yeah, they are really fucking bad creatures. Like, it makes sense why he's going way out of his way to take all of them fuckers down. Now, again, the scene was very brief. It wasn't dragged on. It wasn't, so crazy. I mean, I'm a fan of Berserk. And, I feel like Berserk is very widely liked, right? And Berserk has got some way grimier stuff. Like, I'm not even really that far in Berserk, and there's already way grimier stuff that happens in Berserk than this one little scene in Goblin Slayer. And again, I do think it is handled well, kind of the way the scene goes. So, in the first episode, right, we're introduced to a young priestess. They never even give a name for her, do they? Now that I'm really thinking about it, she's just literally referred to as a porcelain adventure. A lot of these, I think, animes are kind of getting this vibe of MMOs, they kind of have MMO ranking systems and Adventurers Guild, this type of thing. And there's this young priestess who basically the story follows at the start of. She goes on, a request or an assignment, whatever you want to call it, to go take down some goblins with some other sort of rookie adventurers. It's a dude who's a swordsman. We got a sexy-ass mage. They make sure her titties are, boom, right out there. And then we also have, she's like a monk or something from, a Final Fantasy game. She uses her fists and feet and stuff. Now, they get to the cave. The sexy mage is basically taken out instantly. She doesn't really... there's no assault on her. No, she doesn't get raped. She does get stabbed and poisoned. At one point, the goblins do try and do something to her, but, that's when Goblin Slayer arrives and takes them down. The swordsman, he gets it rough. That boy gets cut up into pieces. And then, of course, it's the young fighter, the female fighter. She's the one who actually gets the bad stuff happening to her. But here's the thing, right? So, that does happen to her. But then my homeboy Goblin Slayer rolls up and he instantly takes all of the goblins out. They do save her. And then, it's sort of implied that she's sent to a temple or, some sort of church type thing, which will take in a couple of these girls who have been, assaulted and stuff by the goblins. There is other girls who have been kidnapped from a village who were actually there. That was kind of the main thing from the request to get them out. But it's like seeing so like we see the scene, right? We see the girl get raped. We see the dude get destroyed, chopped into pieces, basically. We see how terrible they are. And it's like, oh man, this is a brutal world and these goblins are brutal. And then we see Goblin Slayer roll up. He says, I'm going to use a club. I'm going to use a sword. I'm going to use a torch. I'm going to use a dagger. I'm going to use whatever I got to use. I'm taking them all down. They're all dying. Like, he comes in. He is the regulator, all right? He is just handling business. I love it because, like, little, kind of like rock theme starts playing, and then he just walks up and everything is handled. So, in that first episode, I did really like that. Again, I'm having trouble with my words here. This wasn't like exploitation, right? Like, they weren't like having a rape scene just to have it, which I feel like is a big complaint of a lot of people. Like, oh, y'all can keep that. I don't want to see it, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I got it. But they're establishing that the goblins are bad, real bad. And so Goblin Slayer is here to take them out, right? I don't think it was like out of pocket or anything. So moving on to episode 2, we actually get Goblin Slayer's backstory. Now, I was pretty surprised that this said it would happen so early in the series. I know it is a manga. I don't know how many chapters there are, but I don't think it's very long as of right now. But I was thinking, like, we would get Goblin Slayer's backstory at some point in the future. But no, boom, episode 2, we get hit with it right away. Now, is it cliche? Yes. But, like, how it's pretty obvious why Goblin Slayer is like a really high level, adventurer or whatever, and he only takes requests to take down goblins. Let me guess. I wonder why. Oh, maybe because his family was massacred by goblins. His village was massacred by goblins. And as he heavily implies in this second episode here, his sister was raped in front of him. Again, setting the scene, goblins being horrible, terrible creatures. Now, I actually thought this second episode, too, was very, very well done. Just the whole way the episode kind of flows, right? Like, we see, what turns out to be the Goblin Slayer at the beginning of the episode. He's like a young kid. Like, it's like sort of obvious that that's probably him, but like, you don't know for sure until you keep watching. And then there's another girl with him, a childhood friend, who eventually, kind of fast forwards, time skips, and we see, he's kind of an adult now. And Goblin Slayer is still with the priestess. They're kind of like, a party or, adventuring team, whatever you want to call it. So they go to take down a fortress of goblins. And sort of like as Goblin Slayer is kind of putting his plan into motion, taking down the goblins, like it's almost, maybe a montage is like sort of the right word here, but not the best description. But just his plan, sort of taking down all these goblins. He's kind of, using some flaming arrows, setting the goblins' fortress ablaze, and then sort of smoking them out from their nests inside, rather than just running in there, sort of guns blazing. As he's sort of initiating his plan to take down all of the goblins, he goes over his backstory. He explains, imagine your village was attacked in the middle of the night. Imagine all your friends were killed in front of you. Imagine your sister was tormented as their plaything in front of you. And he sort of goes on, to explain it. We see scenes, of him, like, as a kid, like, being tortured by the stuff that he's seeing happen in front of him. And that shit is powerful. It's a powerful scene. It's a good scene. Like, I don't know. I feel like Goblin Slayer is like actually, the series is doing something there. Like, again, it's setting up Goblin Slayer for how he acts, right? How he's only focused on goblins. He just wants to take them down. And like, that's the thing. Even in the first episode, the scene that everyone focuses on is, the girl gets raped, which, is bad. But at the end of the episode, after Goblin Slayer takes down all the goblins, there's like a little door which he pries open into like the inner layer, and there's like goblin like children, like small kids. And the priestess is like, are you gonna kill them? And he's just like, yeah, that's the way it's gonna have to be, because they grow up, they'll get smarter, they'll learn from this encounter. They'll attack a village. They'll, rape girls. They'll kidnap girls. They'll do all this shit. So, we got to do it. We got to handle business. Then in episode 2, we sort of, while he's giving his backstory, during his raid on the sort of Goblin Fortress, he explains, morons say, oh, you can let the kids, the Goblin kids live, only for them to then, become wanderers, attack village, build stronger nests, and thus the Goblin problem is manifesting even stronger. So, like, it's all tying together in a nice way, to sort of, so we watch this boy, this regulator, the Goblin Slayer, just handle business with these goblins, and we get it, like, oh yeah, this is what needs to be done. I'm not completely sure where I'm going with this video. Again, I just felt like I saw so much criticism of this, like, show, this series, based on one scene that in context of a lot of other anime, a lot of other manga, really is not that bad, right? Like, I've seen much, much worse. It's really like just bandwagon hate at this point. So I kind of wanted to give my take that, I actually am enjoying the series so far. Even seeing scenes in the second episode of Goblin Slayer being ostracized from, like, the rest of the guild because he's only accepting, missions to hunt down goblins. And, like, people are just hating on him. And my man, listen, he's minding his own business. He does, go ahead, talk shit about me. I'm gonna do what needs to be done. And what needs to be done is motherfucking goblin slaying, alright? He's gonna handle his business. Those goblins are getting slayed. So far, 2 episodes in, I really like it. We'll see where it goes from here. A lot of the, again, complaints I saw about it, sure, they can be, with merit. And especially, I heard that there is some craziness coming up soon. We'll kind of see how that plays out. But so far, I like Goblin Slayer. I think it's caught my interest, we can say. So, I'll continue to watch it. If I feel like, I need to make another video or want to make another video sort of talking about it, I probably will. Again, I might give the manga a look because the scene where Goblin Slayer is explaining his backstory, I thought was very good. It was very powerful. Like, that really, like, endeared me to the show. It's like, okay, so now, like, this started as sort of like morbid curiosity. Like, oh, everyone is complaining about this? Alright, I'll check it out. Well, that wasn't really that bad. Why are people complaining about this? Episode 2, I heard, is really solid. I'll hop into that too. And then, oh, shit, yeah, this is really good. So, like, now I'm in. Like, I'm definitely going to try and, watch all the episodes. So, we'll see how it goes. Y'all let me know. Do you hate Goblin Slayer because of that one scene? Do you just not like it in general? Do you like it? Y'all let me know what you think. I'll keep checking it out. Thanks for watching, and I will catch y'all in the next one.